Alright, so here's a Philco model 38-62 from 1938. And this is a 5-tube set. It's got 2 bands. Regular AM broadcast band from 530 to 1720. And then from 2.3 to 4.5 megahertz. That's the old police band, but probably not much on it now. You might get a little shortwave or something, but that's about it. But anyway, so this is a pretty lower end model, I would say, for being 5 tubes. It doesn't have a tuned RF stage or any of that. So anyway, let's see. The tube lineup consists of a 6A8 detector and oscillator tube, a 6K7 for the IF, a 6Q7 for the first audio tube and second detector, and then it's got one 6F6 output tube and the 5Y4 rectifier. The IF on this is 470. So anyway, this was sent in for repair. Not exactly sure what the exact issue is on it, but I'm pretty sure that with this this collector that sends them in, he usually just basically wants it gone through and any issues repaired. So I have a feeling that we're probably going to be doing grommets, tuner grommets on this, and the power cord and the speaker wire on the back of this thing is kind of messed up. Looks like somebody put some tape over it, and it's got quite a few bare wires there, so he's probably going to want those speaker wires replaced. So anyway, pretty simple set, and so let's get it apart and see what's going on with it. I was just going to point out real quick that this radio originally had a photo finish on it, which you can see from this picture here. Looks like it had like a burl walnut, like a photo finish or whatever on it, and that Philco sticker was part of that photo finish. But the thing is with these radios is there's been people that make those replacement photo finishes, and they're kind of to a varying quality, and you know, most people that I've seen offer that usually don't do it very long, and then it's gone. I bought one for a set that I had around this era, and I let it sit too long, and then it's no good. So I basically had to throw that in the trash. So it was how much ever I paid for it gone down the toilet, but that's kind of the way it goes sometimes. Anyway, let's I got the knobs off of it. Let's see what all it takes to get it out. I've got a feeling that this is one of those restored radios, because it's got the incorrect chassis bolts, it's got replacement new hardware, modern hardware on it. But anyway, so it may end up being one of those restored radios that, you know, somebody's gone through and done a half-assed job, but we'll have to see. Well, I'm quite surprised. This looks fairly untouched. It's got one orange drop capacitor right here, and it looks like it's got the original filter in it. I'm pretty surprised about that. This radio works and it does not hum. I don't know if they've gone in here and done anything with this filter or not. Not real sure. I haven't really checked it very thoroughly, but yeah, it doesn't hum or anything, and yeah, it's got all of this original paper capacitors in it, so I'm sure that's what he's going to want done. He's probably going to want all those changed and all the resistors checked and, you know, stuff we normally do on here. It looks like this chassis might have sat out in the, either in a basement or in the outdoor storage area or something like that. It's got a little rust on it, and the tubes are pretty dirty and dusty, and it's stuck on there like glue. That tube looks pretty clean, and this dial face is cracked and somebody put tape on it, but at least you can't see it like, you know, when it's in the radio. You wouldn't really be able to see that. So I know I think it was Radio Days, I believe, used to make reproductions of these. I don't know if they still do that or not. I've heard they quit doing it, but I'm not sure. But a lot of these Philcos are at least one or two vendors that you could get them from. But I don't know if they still do it or not. I've still got to say I'm stunned. I'm not saying it's safe to do so, but this is amazing. This is that is the original filter cap. It's still connected with all the wires. I showed it to you a minute ago. And there's absolutely no hum. It works fine. It works just fine. That is crazy. I'm gonna go ahead and shut it off. I'm gonna replace that, but yeah, that's amazing. It's the original one. It's still going after all these years. And just so you can see, that still goes into that can, and all these wires are still connected. And I actually pulled the can out to make sure it wasn't cut somewhere up under that little cardboard sleeve, and it's not. It's the original one. This is the first Philco setup I've seen with the original filter capacitor still functioning. So anyway, all right, we'll go ahead and dive into this. Okay, so we got most of the power supply rebuilt. We got new safety caps in the Bakelite block, and then there's this capacitor here, which is a 0.15, and then a 120 ohm resistor here that was up in value. And this one was fine. Check that one. Got all new filters. Put them on a terminal strip and cut the wires to the old one, so that's out of line. And then added a fuse in line with the transformer, so we don't have any issues there. If something's short, it'll save the transformer. At least on that section it will. So the owner of this set sent in a new dial, so we got that. I found it after doing a little digging, and the new speaker wire goes in here and get rid of this taped up mess. We also replaced the power cord on this thing. It had a white one. He wanted to put a new one on there, so got that done, and we're moving right along here. So I think we're going to tackle this dial and then the speaker wire. Okay, as far as this dial, it's pretty simple. You just stick a pair of needle nose in here and twist this ring off here. Twist this ring off, and it should just pop. This thing should pop off. Okay, and then there's two alignment tabs there that will line the new one up so you don't get lost as to where it goes. And take your new dial face and stick it in here. line it up with your tabs, which is right there, and stick your ring back on. I think the object is try to get this thing to lock on without moving this. There it goes. Hopefully I got that on there right. Looks like that's about right. And that locks in place there. That's basically all there is to it. Alright, so the next thing we need to do is change the speaker wire. And so the first thing I need to do is take the speaker out. Now this is always a delicate operation because the speaker is so fragile. You want to make sure you do it with really a lot of care. It's got 4 nuts, and the 4 nuts are 3/8. So if you got like a 3/8 nut driver, that'll work. 3/8 socket or a deep well socket will work too. So anyway, we need to get the speaker out because the wires go up in here and there's a connection point there. So we'll do that. Okay, so we got our 4 nuts and 4 washers out, and here's the speaker. Looks like it's been patched on the front side. But all in all, it still sounds okay, so we're going to put that straight down on a cabinet with, on a countertop with nothing up underneath it so it doesn't get damaged. And we're going to take this little panel off here. Okay, so got that off, and this goes to the audio output transformer, which is located on the back of the speaker. Comes out and goes into the voice coil there, but it also goes out to the field coil. And so to determine which one of these wires go where inside the radio, these things are pretty ratty. I can't really distinguish one color from another. They all look beige to me. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to ohm out each wire and figure out where each one of them go. Alright, so if you're changing these wires, I'll go ahead and point out which ones go where. I've already ohmed them out. This one goes to the base of the 5Y4, which is here. The second tube inward. It's the only one that goes there. And then this one, which is the lower left, if the speaker is facing, the transformer is facing towards you, it goes here to this pin here. This pin here has a capacitor that goes to ground, a bypass cap that comes off of it. So that one goes there, and then the other wire, which is over here, goes next to it, to the next pin down. So that's where all those go if you need to rewire it. Okay, so a little bit better explanation. This wire goes to the one with the capacitor there, which just goes to ground. That's the plate bypass capacitor. So this is the plate of the 6F6 tube. And the other one is the screen grid. So it would be to the next one over, next one down. Alright, so I got my old wires out, and so we just need to kind of measure the approximate length. I'll probably add a little bit just to make it easier, and cut those off. And then you'll want to leave yourself, you know, when you pull them through, you're going to need to make sure that you knot the wire off so you have some strain relief on the chassis side, and leave yourself enough wire for that. It wouldn't hurt. We got plenty of it here, so to add a little bit, maybe you don't want to add it to the point where you put your chassis in, you got a lot of extra wire hanging out, but You could add yourself a little bit just to make it a little more easier to pull the chassis out without having to remove the speaker. I mean, you can do that with this amount of wire, but you know, you can make it a little easier that way. Alright, so got it all wired up here. And we got it all wired up in here. Got it knotted off for strain relief. So that's how it should look. Okay, so we got our speaker wire in and everything's working. So now we're gonna move. I'm gonna get these bake lights done, and by the way, I've replaced these capacitors here because I had to undo this, so I figured I'd replace this. Well, this tied to this, so I went ahead and changed these both, and I just kind of left this one wrapped so I could take it back off when I removed the bake light. So I'm just basically working my way towards the front end of the radio from the audio and power supply section. Okay, so I got all of our components replaced, and we had quite a few out of tolerance resistors. Just about all these 1 megs were all out. This is a 1.5, these were like 3, and these were like 2 megs. So that's all done. So now we've got a kind of a ratty dialight bulb wire, so we're going to get rid of that and replace that. Comes down here and solders right here, so I'm just going to run a new wire.
.com/credit and get $75.
Alright, we got the dialight bulb put in. Even put a new bulb in, or got the wire installed rather, so that's fixed. That should do just fine.
Your choice, because otherwise.
Alright, so we got it back together. Seems to be picking up really good. And so we'll do a band scan. Call this one good. All the tubes checked fine, and got it all wrapped up.
See what you're saying about that. We're the only minorities really at the club, with an exception of maybe a few.
Cheaper than the rolling sea. ... Also, don't want to spill my champagne.
We're gonna scapes and cuts all the hedges. Okay. Well, there's gonna be needs.
Sore spot here. Because Ohio State was one of those. Oh, is that? I didn't know.
Don't listen to some guy from the other side of the country tell you about your team.
Yeah, okay, I got it. Nope, I got it. Okay.
Alan, there's no doubt about that, and Dan Hurley even said that at the beginning.
In nearly 3 hours to bring the blaze under control. Chief Otaro says 4 first responders suffered minor injuries, including 2 firefighters and a medic taken to nearby hospitals with smoke inhalation. A 3rd firefighter was treated at the...
Zoom. You may hear me on the radio. Someone asked a question. You hear me on the radio. Someone asked a question.
But the pass was off target. Lamont Butler are walking up the floor. San Diego. Funny. The American dream is alive and well in our open.
We got a lot of buzz around here on the lower end of the AM band lately.
Exploring truth from
The way they fight, scratch, and claw, the way they did it today.
that's about it. It's got one little band right here, the police band, but I can't pick up anything on that band. You flip it over there. If you go past that, it just starts repeating some of the broadcast bands. So anyway, I think he just wanted it to work on broadcast, and that's what it's doing. It's doing it pretty good. So thank y'all for watching, and we got one more of his radios coming, so stay tuned for that.